This video is sponsored by Raycon. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What I Watched This Month November edition. I didn't watch a ton this month, but hey, we're still here. I kicked off the month by watching Climax for the billionth time. I wish I had something new to say about this movie by now, but after talking about it for what I can only assume is over 10 times, I really don't. If you didn't already know, this is one of my favorite horror movies just because of how unique and immersive it is. The visuals are bold, the choreography is liberating, the music is hypnotic. Everything about this is working so well and feels like such a unique trip that I feel comfortable calling it a comfort movie, just because of how utterly mesmerizing it is to experience, and don't judge me for that. Then I watched The Simpsons movie. This was such a big movie for me when I was a kid. I remember being really excited to see it, and you know what? It still holds up. So many of these small gags are so clever and fun, and they all work in the context of the plot, which in itself is a perfect plot to both get the most out of The Simpsons and make it also feel like a movie worth existing. Bart's penis is still just as shocking to see as it was when I was a child. Such a crazy shot. But yeah, it's a good movie. Then I watched Enola Holmes for my podcast, The Karsten, available on all podcast platforms. I did not want to watch this, and I won't say I was pleasantly surprised because I got exactly what I expected, but I guess I also wasn't as bored as I thought I'd be. This is doing just enough to barely hold your attention. Millie Bobby Brown does prove she has range as an actor and gives a performance you can tell she actually cared about. The premise of following Sherlock Holmes' sister is also pretty interesting and has the potential to be something pretty fun, which this is in some parts, but it suffers at the hands of a god-awful screenplay. I mean, why is this so cluttered? It feels like 6 different films going on at the same time. I get that part of that was to keep things interesting, but I think part of what makes mystery films like this work is having a clear presentation of the storyline, and this really fails at giving the viewer any clarity. I wouldn't say it's hard to follow, it's just kind of a headache that gets so annoying to a point where I couldn't care less by the end. Then I watched Sponge on the Run. This is not a good movie. Then I watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space on Netflix. I am not about to call this a good movie by any means. It's not, and that's totally fine. What the hell were you expecting me to say about a movie with a title like that? I do think that it's perfect to watch when it's a little past midnight and you and your friends need something to entertain yourselves fast and you're not fully paying attention. The costumes and the set designs are probably the best part about this. They are ridiculous and goofy throughout the entire thing. You know what, now that I think about it, I can't tell if I really did watch this. It may have been a bad nightmare or something. And if that sounds like something you want to experience, check it out. Then I watched Miranda July's Kajillionaire. This is, I think, the best movie of the year so far. I know that take may come across as divisive to some, as I understand some people really don't like this movie, but I loved it. Everything about this is working perfectly. It's kind of genius and it's original as hell. Miranda July pulls off a quirky aspect of her filmmaking that doesn't feel irritating, which is the case most of the time when a filmmaker tries to be quirky, whatever that means to you. Her quirk feels authentic and necessary to how she tells her story. It's not quirky for the sake of being quirky, it's just being very expressive in a very interesting way. Evan Rachel Wood's performance is so specific and good. I could watch her character and every other character in this movie for hours. The cinematography is beautiful and unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm definitely going to be talking about this extensively in the future, I can already tell, so I'll leave things there for now and tell you guys to please check this one out. It's the best movie of the year so far. Then I watched Boys State, that new A24 documentary about the boys who build a representative government from the ground up. This is hands down one of the most entertaining documentaries you'll find out there. Seeing as though my fan base consists of mostly this exact demographic, high school boys, I really can't recommend this enough to you guys. This brought all of that terrifying high school toxicity to the screen in a truly captivating way. Not to mention, it's a genius way of exploring the political system in the US and just how terrible we are. But hey, what you gonna do, you know? It's a good movie. Then I watched the new Jim Cummings film, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. As a huge fan of Jim's short films and his contribution to modern independent cinema, I was excited to check this out. I still haven't seen the Thunder Road feature, so this felt like a weird place to start, but it's clear he has a unique artistic voice that is both entertaining and introspective. This was a genuinely unique approach to the werewolf movie, embracing a certain level of camp with modern film techniques to create something truly original. Sometimes his style works, and other times when he wants the film or scene to be taken seriously, it doesn't. I can't lie and say I felt much at all, but it definitely held my attention and was a fun way to spend my night. It's a clearly fleshed out vision that I'm excited to see him take in other directions. Then I watched And Then We Danced, a film I was supposed to catch at Cannes and never got around to. This is a much more celebratory film than it is a plot-driven film, as it really just reads as this guy having a really rough week, but it's truthful in how it tells that. Levan Jelpakiani's performance is so captivating, I really couldn't take my eyes off of him. Scenes where the characters were supposed to feel a sense of freedom and deliberation were also extremely effective in conveying those feelings. It's a very emotional movie that I can't necessarily recommend to everyone, and I also can't really describe it with words. It tells a story of love and identity strictly through visuals, and it's very beautiful in that way. Then I watched Jim Jarmusch's Only Lovers Left Alive, and I fucking loved it. Jarmusch is literally such a genius. This dude knows exactly how to make a movie and use cinema to its fullest potential. This is his best use of music that I've seen so far. Just watch the first 5 minutes and try to tell me otherwise. This is a movie with an entire soul behind it. It's a living, breathing creature full of personality that is consistently uncovering new layers. The performances are also weird and inviting. Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston are both just so odd. The lack of light adds a rich gloominess that draws you in. The deadpan humor is working really well. If you're looking for a good movie to watch while high, I'm not saying that's what I did when I watched this, but give this one a shot. Then I rewatched Fantastic Mr. Fox because it's that time of the year. I think besides all the personal reasons for loving this, which by the way is a list of reasons that has only grown with time, I think this is a perfect movie. And I'm not just saying that to say it, I mean this is as perfect gets. There are so few movies that have quite literally zero flaws and achieve exactly what they set out to achieve with not a single mistake. I can't find a single thing wrong with this thing. It's not only one of my favorites of all time, but it's one of the best films of all time, and I think we gotta start saying that more often. Then I watched Shithouse, one of the most aggressively relatable films I think I've ever seen. This was a big hit out of South by Southwest, directed by Cooper Raiff, about a college freshman who kind of builds a bond with his RA. I think every film student considers making this exact film where they direct and they star in it, and it's about their freshman year experience, and they're also told not to make that film, but Cooper Raiff said, fuck it, I'm going for it, and he pulled it off. I cannot recommend this enough. It is hilarious, it's truthful, and it's clever. I definitely see this as being one that I will consistently revisit for comfort, so please check it out. I know a lot of you will love this. Then I watched Jim Jarmusch's Down by Law. This is one of his most acclaimed and seems to be a favorite amongst his diehard fans, and I can see why. It's super goofy, and the chemistry between these three men could not be better. It does drag a little in the beginning, and sure, Jarmusch is known to drag on purpose as a means of creating a drifting atmosphere, but this one didn't work for me in that way as much as I wanted it to. But alas, it really brings things home in the second half and gives you everything you want out of a Jim Jarmusch-style buddy comedy escape film. Very specific, but very good. Then I watched High School Musical 2. This is simultaneously not the masterpiece I remember it being, and also so much better than I remember it being. Does that make any sense to anyone? I had a lot of fun watching this, and I think the first thing theaters need to do when we get out of this mess is program midnight screenings of this across the world. Then I watched the anime Puella Magimatica Magica. I hope I got that name right. This definitely felt like a good entry point for anime. I was very hooked on what is an insanely original and mindfuck of a story. The animation style of this is also so cool and original. I definitely need to see it again to understand 100% of the themes, because believe me, there's a lot going on here, and I do not feel as though I'm in a position to explain them, but not a bad way to spend an afternoon. I definitely recommend checking it out on Netflix. Then I watched Tim Heidecker's new special, An Evening with Tim Heidecker. I wouldn't call myself a hardcore Tim fan. I like Tim and Eric, and that's about it. But that being said, this made me a big Tim Heidecker fan. This is one of the most brilliant stand-up specials or performance art pieces or characters, whatever you want to call it, ever. He is parodying so many things at once, like modern stand-up, politicians, any sort of entertainer, and he's doing it all in a really smart and funny way, not in a way that feels kind of cheap. I want to recommend it to as many people as possible, but I also am well aware 90% of those people are not gonna like it at all, so take that however you want. Then I finished the month with Happiest Season, that one holiday movie on Hulu about coming out. It was cute and it was fine. I understand this probably means a lot to a lot of people, and I think it gets across these messages in a very comforting and reassuring way that is so necessary and refreshing to see in a holiday flick, because hey, these fears are very real. But I guess I found some of it to be a little too corny for my taste, and I don't have a lot of complaints besides that, but that's a pretty big complaint that lasts the entire movie. I'm endlessly thankful that we have movies like this that exist and people enjoy watching them, and they're doing so much good, but that doesn't mean I gotta love everything about them. Also, I'm just not a rom-com guy. That's just how it is. And that's what I watched this month. I also watched a lot of movies from a guy whose last name rhymes with Pincher, and yes, there will be a video where I rank all of those movies by that anonymous director who I will not name right now. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Check out all these films, form your own opinion. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy healthy. And before you head out, I want to thank today's sponsor, Raycon. Raycon recently sent me their everyday E25 earbuds, and I have to say they're some of my favorite earbuds on the market. For one, they pair seamlessly with all of my Bluetooth devices, which is usually an annoyance with other premium wireless earbuds, but these make it super easy. Not only do they fit amazing in my ear, but they also sound great. They're noise isolating, they give me more bass, which let me just say is very important. I use them for basically everything I do, whether it's recording a podcast, working on a video, working out, and part of that is because they give you 6 hours of playtime. I get so much out of them every time I charge them. To fit your style, they have tons of fun color options, and to fit your ear, they got sizing options. Not to mention they come in at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbud out there. Raycon's being generous for the holidays, so on top of their everyday great prices, they're offering all my viewers 15% off right now, so you can save big on gift shopping. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/Karsten to get 15% off your order.